Hi guys, it's me, LoreLord again. Before I start, I just want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Both of those ended about a month ago, however, I was gone during that time, so here's my chance to say it now. And speaking of which, I would also like to apologise for my sudden disappearance. I would like to say that it was due to unexpected circumstances, but the truth is these circumstances, which I won't specify what they were actually expected. I just never said anything about them because I'm not very bright. But this much we knew already. Anyway, while I was gone, on the very last day of last year, the official Elder Scrolls Twitter account tweeted this. A picture of a map of Skyrim, as well as a few important things surrounding it. And the tweet is captioned as, "Transcribe the past and map the future." And before I say anything more, I just want to say that this would have nothing to do with Elder Scrolls Online. And this is because Elder Scrolls Online has its own separate Twitter and Instagram, which, needless to say, only post things that are related to Elder Scrolls Online. Whereas the Elder Scrolls social medias only post things that are related to the single-player Elder Scrolls games. So we can certainly confirm that this has nothing to do with the Elder Scrolls Online. And so since people have confirmed that this tweet is almost certainly talking about the Elder Scrolls 6, people have begun to theorise as to what this tweet means. Which is what I'd like to do today. Today, I have a pretty interesting theory about what this tweet is trying to say. Well, technically, it's somewhat two theories. One is about the location of the game, and the second is about the plot of the game. Obviously, I don't have enough evidence to confirm if either of these theories will turn out to be correct. These are just theories that I thought I would just put out there because why not? Yes, there is the small possibility that there is no theory that's correct about this tweet, and this tweet is just a red herring to get people talking until the release of the game, when it turns out that the tweet really didn't tell us anything. But I really doubt that's the case. I am sure that this tweet is trying to tell us something. So I do think it's certainly appropriate to try and figure out what. So let's have a look at where these candles are. We'll start with the one at the very top, which is the only one that is not on the map itself, but rather on a book. But not just any book. No, this book would likely be the Improved Emperor's Guide to Tamriel. A book written, or transcribed, by one Fallacius Terentius. This book explains all there is to know about Tamriel and all the parts of it, including their histories, which is why this book is partly a history book. This alone hints to the idea in the caption of transcribing the past, but it doesn't really specify. What does, however, is what is also on the book. What appear to be coins on the book are in fact coins. More specifically, they're Dragon Guard coins. Coins inspired from Elder Scrolls Online that you can actually buy in real life as a collector's item. But as we've already established, this tweet would have nothing to do with the Elder Scrolls Online, and so these coins wouldn't have anything to do with it either. And what all four of these coins have in common is that they come from provinces where the Empire has little to no control. One is a Somerset Isle coin, and as we know, in Somerset Isle, the Aldemary Dominion came back into power with the Thalmor, making Somerset Isle the second province to succeed from the Empire, a few decades after Argonia. Another coin is that of Morrowind. Morrowind didn't officially succeed from the Empire, but due to the eruption of Red Mountain and the invasions from Argonia, Morrowind is mostly a wasteland in which the Empire holds no real power. Another coin is the Elsewhere coin, and as we can see, the side that has the two moons of Elsewhere is the one facing up. And this is important because it's related as to how Elsewhere succeeded from the Empire. In the year 4th Era 98, the two moons of Elsewhere disappeared, and these moons were very significant in the Khajiit religion, which is why when these moons disappeared, it caused a mass panic across Elsewhere. But 2 years later, the moons suddenly reappeared. But the Thalmor took credit for making them reappear, and many of the Khajiit believed them, and saw the Thalmor as their saviours, which is why, in a short span of time, the Empire lost quite a bit of influence in Elsewhere, and eventually there was a coup, which rid Elsewhere of all Imperial influence, and divided Elsewhere into Aninquina and Palatine, and I apologise if I pronounced that extremely badly, both of which became satellite states of the Aldemari Dominion. And finally, there is a Wolf of Solitude coin. As we know, Solitude is the capital of Skyrim, which is in a civil war between the Empire and the Stormcloaks who want an independent Skyrim. And so, as mentioned before, all of these coins are that of provinces in which the Empire has lost or is losing control. And I'm pretty sure this specifies the past in which is being transcribed. I believe this is referencing the 4th era history of the Empire gradually losing its control over Tamriel. Now, I promise you that talking about the next 2 candles will not take as long as what the first candle did. And speaking of Solitude, the next candle actually seems to be in Solitude. Here I have to give some credit to the YouTuber Camelworks, who noticed that, more specifically, here is when, at the end of the Dark Brotherhood questline, spoiler alert by the way, in which you assassinate the Emperor Titus Mede II. And because how canon lore works in the Elder Scrolls series, in the Elder Scrolls 6, assuming that it's in the future of Skyrim, which I'm pretty sure it will be, the assassination of Emperor Titus Mede II will become canon lore. What won't be is if whether or not it was the Dragonborn themselves that assassinated the Emperor, or some other member of the Dark Brotherhood. Anyway, the location in which this happens is where the candle is located on the map. I do not think this is a coincidence, because it points out another negative part of the history of the Mede Empire. So I have the idea that both of those candles relate to transcribing the past, but it's the third candle that I believe is related to mapping the future, because the third candle, as we can see, is located on Hammerfell. And because this is mainly a map of Skyrim, the part that includes Hammerfell is, as we can see, unmapped. We know this, by the way, because just underneath this very candle it says Province of Skyrim. There is only one other detail that is on the unmapped part that is Hammerfell, which is the compass. Just let this sink in for a moment. There is a compass on a part of a map which isn't mapped itself. If neither of those things separately relate to future mapping, let alone together, I don't know what does. And that's not all. There is another thing that relates to this, I believe, but it's not actually included in this tweet, and there's no confirmation that this is actually related in any way, so take this bit with a grain of salt. On the 10th of June, 2018, Bethesda's parent company, ZeniMax, trademarked the word Redfall, and literally the next day, Bethesda announced The Elder Scrolls 6. We don't know what exactly Redfall could mean, but given how it sounds, it could definitely mean something that's related to Hammerfell. But again, unlike the other things that I've talked about in this video, this part could actually just be a coincidence, so do take this with a pinch of salt. Does all this tell us that the next game will take place in Hammerfell? Possibly, but we'll get to that soon. But first, let's go back to the tweet so I can show you another thing, a rock, which happens to be on High Rock. Do not try and tell me that there is a High Rock on High Rock, and that doesn't mean anything. So what does this High Rock on High Rock mean? Well, now I think it's time to announce the answer for my first theory, which is answered by the location of the third candle and the rock. I believe the game will take place mainly in Hammerfell, but will also possibly include High Rock, or at least parts of it. Now, before you say that both of these have appeared in Arena and High Rock in Daggerfall, and say that you can't revisit provinces that have been in previous games, why not? Like I just said then, they revisited High Rock in Daggerfall, and that was okay because it was a separate storyline and a separate environment. The only thing that was the same is part of the map. And that would be the same in this regard. The locations may be the same, but there is a several 100-year difference. And not to mention, both Arena and Daggerfall were made back in the mid-90s. And these video games were like any video game that was made at that time. 2D pixelated RPGs. So you also have to consider that although the location may be the same in lore, it'll also look much better due to the advancement in technology. For one, it won't be 2D and pixelated. And so, Hammerfell, and at least parts of High Rock, is where I believe the setting will be. Now here's my theory on the plot of The Elder Scrolls 6. As we know, every Elder Scrolls game has a conflict that drives the plotline. With Skyrim, it was the return of Alduin, and partly the Skyrim Civil War. With Oblivion, the Oblivion Crisis, and so on. But I believe the plot of The Elder Scrolls 6 may be a bit different. Instead of being something mystical like the return of Alduin or the Oblivion Crisis, the main conflict will be more on the political side like the Skyrim Civil War. I am talking about the Second Great War. In a time where the Empire is on its knees, which it already is in Skyrim, possibly even disbanded entirely. And if that's the case, it could be the Second Great War between the Aldemeri Dominion and independent provinces. And another reason in which I believe that this may be the plot of The Elder Scrolls 6 is because it explains the caption. It explains the past of a previous Great War in which the Aldemeri won, and mapping the future is referencing another Great War. And so those are my theories for The Elder Scrolls 6. Like I said at the beginning of this video, these aren't necessarily ideas that I am totally convinced will be the case. This is just me spitballing. So I hope you guys found my theories interesting. Let me know in the comment section if whether or not you agree or have anything else to add to the theory. And also let me know if you have your own theory or theories as to what The Elder Scrolls 6 will be like. Alas, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.